Hello and welcome. I am Light, and this is my channel. Today we're going to talk about crossroads. Have you ever found yourself at a crossroad in your life? Have you ever found yourself at a crossroad when you were driving? Did it ever occur to you that that word would have paranormal meaning? Well, it does, and we're going to talk about it today. Please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please leave a comment and share the video. Let's get talking about this. In Greek mythology, crossroads were associated with both Hecate and Hermes, with shrines and ceremonies for both taking place there. The Herm pillar associated with Hermes frequently marked these places due to God's association with travelers and role as their guide. Though less central to Greek mythology than Hermes is Hecate's connection to crossroads, and that was more cemented in a ritual. Suppers of Hecate were left for her at crossroads at each new moon, and one of her most common titles was Goddess of the Crossroads. In her later threefold depictions, each of the three heads or bodies is often associated with one of these crossing roads. The Greeks and Romans believed that doors, gates, rivers, frontiers, and crossroads held spiritual meanings regarding transitioning, leaving one area and going somewhere else, a change in direction physically and spiritually. Therefore, rituals of protection and rituals regarding change were done at crossroads. An 11th century homily called De Falsis Deis tells us that Mercury or Odin were honored at crossroads, and the translation for that is, "There once lived a man named Mercury, who was very deceitful, and, though quite wise in speech, was treacherous in actions and lies. The pagans, in their account, also made him their great god, and often and frequently offered him sacrifices at the crossroad. Through the teachings of the devil and to high hills they often brought various offerings of praise." In Great Britain, there existed a tradition of burying the ultimate criminals, people who had performed the ultimate crime against themselves and died, which means unaliving themselves. They were buried at the crossroads outside of the settlement, and the purpose of that was to confuse the undead who may be roaming, looking for those bodies, and as a way that it would be too confusing for those who had died that way to rise and find their way back home. The crossroads were also a site for torturing criminals, and some of them, in their torture and that state of mind, would unalive themselves, therefore be buried where they had died. And what they would do is, let's say your last name was Combs or your last name was Smith. It would be called the Smith's Corner or Smith's Road, Combs Corner, Combs Road, Silver Corner, Silver Road, etc. And that purpose of that is to remember who was buried there and why they were buried there. But of course, centuries later, nobody thinks twice about going on a crossroads. And it's unfortunate because those people are still there. For those of you who are fans of the TV show Superstition, this might ring a bell. In Western folk mythology, a crossroads can be used to summon a demon or a devil in order to make a deal. There are legends about artists, music, TV, movies, who would go to a crossroad and make a deal with the devil. In regards to conjuring, root work, and hoodoo, a form of African American magical spirituality practiced by African Americans, not all of them obviously, Not most of them, I would say. In the United States, the crossroads originates from the Congo cosmogram in Central Africa. It represents the rising and setting of the sun and the human life cycle of death and rebirth. The center of the crossroads is where communication with spirits take place. During the transatlantic slave trade, the Congo cosmogram was brought to the United States by African slaves. Archaeologists unearthed representations of the Congo cosmogram on slave plantations in South Carolina on clay pots made by enslaved Africans. The Congo cosmogram is called the Bakongo cosmogram, and the Yoa cross Congo cosmogram is a fork in the road, or even a fork in a branch, and it can allude to this crucially important symbol of passage and communication between the worlds. The turn in the path, i.e., the crossroads, remains an indelible concept in the Congo Atlantic world as the point of intersection between the ancestors and the living. It is at the crossroads where many Africans believe one will witness the powers of God and emerge from the waters spiritually renewed. Folklorist Nubel Niles Puckett recorded a number of crossroads rituals in hoodoo practiced among African Americans in the South and explained its meaning. Puckett wrote, "Possibly this custom of sacrificing at the crossroads is due to the idea that spirits, like men, travel the highways and would be more likely to hit upon the offering at the crossroad than elsewhere. African crossroads spirits were brought to the United States, and in the voodoo tradition, Papa Legba is the Iwa of crossroads and the messenger to the spirit world." In hoodoo, one such ceremony would be that you would want to sell your soul to the devil. So you'd go to the crossroad and you'd ask manually, through body skills and playing instruments, throwing dice or dancing, the devil to give to you a talent. It is believed that one may attend upon a crossroads a certain number of times, either at midnight or just before dawn, and one will meet the black man, whom some call the devil, who will bestow on one the desired skill. This practice is believed to have originated from an African American blues musician by the name of Robert Johnson. I have heard legend that B.B. King was one of the people who went to a crossroads and sold his soul to the devil. In the oral history of hoodoo, it is said that Robert Johnson became a skilled blues musician after he sold his soul to the devil at the crossroad, and because of this, people began going to the crossroad at midnight to sell their soul to a devil, to acquire a skill, or to become better at a skill. Many modern listeners believe that the premier song about soul selling at a crossroads is called Crossroad Blues, and is in fact sung and written by Robert Johnson. This is chronicled in the Netflix documentary Remastered: Devil at the Crossroads. So, what do you think? Have you ever been to a crossroad? Tried to make a deal with the devil? Would that ever occur to you? I've heard of other musicians and people in movie and TV that have supposedly gone to a crossroad at midnight to sell their soul to the devil. Who would you guess that might be? Thank you for coming to my channel, and good night.